Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition. Actually, this is the early edition of the Other People Show. Typically, every Friday at this time, we bring you a brand new Real Talk. And we're going to do that again next week. We're going to take this week off in Real Talk, but we have a special guest in studio tonight. Some variations of himself have been in the studio a couple of times, but I don't know if Tyler Payne, in the flesh, as himself, has ever been onto the show.
Not at all.
So welcome. And we were discussing right before you came on if you had actually ever been on.
Right, no, not at all. It's always been a character or something like that.
I think so too. So before we get into the show, please go to all of our social media pages. That is the Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, The Other People's Show. Subscriptions and viewership is up, so greatly appreciated. So Tyler, what's been going on, man? It's been a while since you've been in.
About a year, right?
Yeah. And you've had a lot happen between then. We're gonna dive into that tonight. I'm excited to get into it.
Enough to keep me busy and stressed out of my head.
Okay, so let's go from there. So you had the fantastic screening back in, was it October?
September. Yeah.
And end of September, correct?
Yep, September 29th.
And we were talking about how quickly, does it feel to you like it's been that long?
Not at all, because last year I thought do a few screeners, do a few film festivals, release the movie in the summer.
Right.
I was actually aiming to get it out in the spring.
Right.
But then life happens, all sorts of other things happen, and along that way I decided to do a VHS release first.
Yes.
I'm only going to make like 50 of those though.
Now, what sparked that idea? I saw you post that, a couple weeks back?
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a brilliant idea. And you're only doing 50 limited edition VHS copies of Silico Solutions.
Hey, you did it.
Yeah, I did. I practice, actually. Today, I often have to drive to Grundy. So I practice pronunciation of things.
That's fair.
And before, when you came in, I had it written down on the sheet. But as you can see, well, this sheet has writing, but it doesn't say that on it.
You're good. You're good.
So, yeah. So what made you come up with that kind of a idea?
What kind of idea again?
Oh, with the VHS.
Oh, right. So when I was live, a lot of people would come in. It was like, you do a lot of analog horror. And, they were like, you should definitely consider doing a VHS. I was like, that would be super cool because, a lot of homages paid out to, like, Terminator 2 and other, I guess, 80s horror. But, I don't view Terminator as a horror movie.
Right.
It's more of a childhood classic.
Yes. Childhood action classic.
Yeah. That Arnold in it,
Yes.
Come on. Anyway, so whenever, being inspired by a bunch of different 80s movies and things like that, it made me want to go ahead and just do it in VHS. So I started looking into it, reaching out to a bunch of independent, VHS people who produce them and, will make super limited runs of things.
Right.
And I talked to a few, and I found one, and we're in the talks of getting everything together. I'm slow on my end. I need to get them everything, but the final cut of the movie's like 30-some gigs. So. Really?
Now, is the VHS? Now, I know you don't. You have a unrated version. Or is that the one that you just released one on?
Oh yeah, that was the festival cut.
Okay.
That's like.
So that's the cut that I've seen.
Yep.
Well, I've seen a couple different cuts.
You've seen the full cut. Yeah.
But the one that's on YouTube is the festival cut.
Yeah.
Which I'd also seen. And you did you ever get your award? Did you say?
I did.
Okay.
I actually almost brought it with me.
Yes.
But and
you'll have to take a picture and show us because a lot of people have asked about that award. To be honest with you.
You've actually shared it already.
I did.
Yeah. The VHS that Carol's holding in that.
That's
is
it.
The award.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is so cool, though.
Right.
And you finally got it in. How long did it actually take before you got it in?
About 6 months. But the cool thing is, the dude who was running FrankenCon, he made it himself. He printed it out. He did all the stuff because the person who was supposed to, or was supposed to be on that, I think got tied up with a bunch of life happens.
Right.
And then he was like, "Sorry, it's taking so long, man. I'm just gonna do it." And he went on ahead and did it for
That's
me.
so cool.
Right.
And how glad were you that it was a? Did you realize that was the actual what they were giving out, a VHS?
No
Trophy?
idea. Like when they were first giving them, I had no idea. So this year though, or this coming year for Frank and Con, I got a new short film I've been working on.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm excited to. You're going to keep that kind of hidden until festival time?
I may share a little bit about it here and there and do
Okay.
some like little. I think I'm gonna put it up for a very edited cut for TikTok subscribers.
Okay.
And then they're gonna get it way before anyone else does. Then I'm gonna try to get it at this year's Horror Fest in Johnson City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when's that coming up? Is that this summer? I mean, well, this fall coming
Yep,
up?
this October, I believe it's.
Is the deadline in October?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's in October 19th or 16th, but
Okay.
I know they have like a week-long thing with like a road show. Last year, I sent Izzy up on stage to talk about some of the process, how
Yeah.
I think things through, how I did the things, and
I watched something where I don't know if it was Izzy. It was some kind of clip at.
was I on a stage?
It seems like.
Yeah, that would probably be
Okay.
it.
And it's on YouTube.
Yeah, that one's
Okay.
on YouTube under the Horror Fest
Okay.
YouTube channel. Highlands Horror Fest.
Okay, so that's going on again this fall as well. I'm hoping to working on something currently, but also, you should maybe, and I think I might, enter into Kevin Smith's film festival.
Will they let me put something ultra violent?
Yes, I'm pretty sure he would, because I was listening to something the other day, and they originally, when he was talking about making Mallrats, they didn't want to hire one of the actors, and the reason being is because Ben Affleck. He was like, no, he wasn't Ben Affleck then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were like, no, he's a potty mouth. He'll just make it even harder to get an R rating. And Kevin Smith was like, well, that was music to my ears. That's what I wanted to hear. So when I was looking up the other day about the Smod Castle, which is a theater that he owns and podcasts and stuff, he does a film festival, and the deadline is sometime in October. And I honestly thought Tyler's film could easily be submitted and taken because it's Kevin Smith.
Dude, that would be awesome.
So I think that's something you should definitely look into. And it's New Jersey, so it's not that far away. I'll go up there with you.
Perfect. Yeah, definitely. I
you
don't
know.
want to do it alone. I did
No.
the Rhode Island one alone, and dude, it was fun. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. I met Aaron Beauregard, the author of all the splatterpunk
Really?
novels. Yeah.
Did he do like a speaking engagement up there, or one of the judges?
So what it wasn't a festival. It was an event that PVD Horror invited me out to collaborate with them on. And they were like, we have a horror movie night, and I was like, that's awesome. You want
Right.
to play mine? And he was like, absolutely. And then we talked a little bit about it, and I was like, I want to come down. And they invited me down. I came in. I flew in.
No, did you go from Tri-Cities up there?
Yeah.
Straight flight?
No, had to go to, I think, Atlanta.
Okay.
I had to think about it for a
Okay.
second.
Because at first I was going to ask. I've been. It was in what, Rhode Island?
Yep.
I've been to Rhode Island, but I've never been there. Actually, strike that. I haven't been to Rhode Island.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I was going to ask how long of a drive. I've been to like Delaware and New York, but Rhode Island's further. It's right above New York, isn't it?
I think it's about a 2-hour drive, maybe,
Okay.
give or take.
Okay.
But anyways, going down there, though, Aaron Beauregard was there. Savage 63, I might have got that number wrong, but he's a comic book artist who
Okay.
does the Pale Duke. He was also there. And then there was another comic book artist that was there who was helping with the Black Apple, which was one of PVD Horror's comic book
Okay.
series. And that artist, she's actually working on some tarot cards of
Really?
my characters. Yeah.
Now, how was your so you flew up there, And what was what kind of a venue was it?
It was a bar. So check this out.
Okay.
So, you've watched Family Guy,
Right.
You know the Paul Tuckett Pat Brewery.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So,
So get that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
I saw that building for one.
Okay.
That was super cool. But I was in something that was like a smaller version of that. It was this weird warehouse. I loved it. I walked all around inside the halls, pacing, talking to myself, getting
Yeah.
ready. Because, you're getting ready to show your film. And I'm like, oh, God, this is like getting ready to go on stage. Although, like, the
Yeah.
acting's done. It's in stone. It's there. But I now have to watch people's reactions to this.
Now, what is your thought when any time that you've seen, when you're in the crowd, or what do you watch the crowd, or what's your process of that?
So I can't watch myself.
Right.
That's the main thing.
I find it difficult to watch myself as well.
Man, I hate seeing
You
myself.
you have to when you edit yourself.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm like, ooh, I don't like to watch that.
No. And like when Carol's on screen, it's different because I can pull myself out of it.
Right.
It's not me. That's the
character.
character.
Yes.
Yeah. Like I'm very pulled away from it to some degree. So that makes it easier. But when we were here and we did the screening in September, I loved watching people's reactions, like how loud people would get, especially at the drill scene.
Yeah. How uncomfortable they're getting all squeamish.
loved
I didn't
it.
pass out though.
That's good.
Yeah, you were afraid that I would pass out.
You did puke there.
Yeah, I did puke.
I blame it on the booze. I take some credit. I'll take some credit for it. A little bit. 50. I'll take 50. But Aaron Beauregard, when I met him, we were talking about movies and things like that, and one of the things that I'd mentioned was, budget constraints.
Right.
Like, I had a budget set at X amount of dollars. I went over it by X amount of dollars.
And it was a self-financed project, correct?
Yep. I said it was actually my house down payment.
Okay.
During COVID, I saved a bunch of money for a house down payment, and every house I looked at was like, no, I couldn't do it, and like no one would finance it for me or anything. So I was like, well, I'm sitting on all this cash and don't know what to do with it, so let's cut it up and make a movie. So
Now, when you were going, and we might have touched on this last time, it was before the COVID times that you came up with Silico Solutions, correct?
well,
Or is that when it was shaped into what it became?
that's when it started shaping. So like in 2019, right before the Big Sick happened, I was already starting to do the TikTok thing.
Right.
And things were already starting to pop off.
Take off, right.
Yeah, and then that spring, that's when the Big Sick happened and everything kind of started derailing. And I was just like, well, I can just double down with this.
Right.
Like, can't go anywhere, so I'd go get like a 40 and get a
So you were able to put that downtime, well, quote, downtime that the world had at the time
Yep.
into this creative venture, and you poured your heart and soul. Because you used to go live sometimes, it seemed like.
I'm live right now.
Oh, yeah, he's live right now on your, you want to give out your TikTok?
Yeah, TikTok is Psychosilico, SYCOPSILICO.
And yeah, you would go live because I remember it was before I really knew exactly what you were, and I don't even think we'd met at the time, but I'd seen some of, I guess, the earlier videos that featured maybe Carol or some things. One of the first ones I do remember it seemed like there was like some double doors that were open and outside, and then there was like a table. And it seems like you had, one of the mannequin heads, maybe
That was
a
the
blowtorch.
Halloween
Was
special.
it a blowtorch?
It was a blowtorch,
Okay.
and that one is not allowed on TikTok. Surprisingly,
Really?
I did make the fire alarm go off too, though.
Okay.
But
I think that was one of the first ones that I can remember seeing.
that was before I even did it on TikTok. That
Okay.
was just me doing a Facebook Live just for fun. Like, oh, it's Halloween. I'm
Okay.
making a costume.
Was it Halloween when it
Yeah.
happened? Okay.
It was around Halloween. I was like, I want to make a new costume. I want to make a new mask to celebrate Halloween. So that's what I was doing.
So you didn't have this idea brewing at that particular time?
Nope.
Really?
Nope. What ended up happening was like midway through, I believe it was 2021, after a year of doing the TikTok, I started thinking about, well, if this takes off, I'll make a movie with it. And I wanted to anyway. So I was just kind of like, this is when buying a house just felt like it was impossible.
Right.
And it still does feel impossible
Right.
to some degree.
Yeah.
But after all that was said and done with, though, I was like, well, like, if I do each scene at 2 minutes long to 3 minutes long, and I have like at least 25 to 30 scenes at 2 minutes a pop, right there is a feature length film.
Right.
I've been making TikToks for a year. I already have enough
All
like
that.
little shorts. They're all broken, discombobulated, so it doesn't really make a movie.
Right.
But I was like, let's kind of apply this thought pattern to this.
Right.
And that's when I started like considering it.
So that's when it started to evolve.
Yeah, that's when I thought about it.
Okay.
Now, it wasn't set in stone yet
Right.
because TikTok had already had me in a spot. And I was like, well.
Because it was kind of hard at first for you to get your stuff on there because you said people were like, not complaining, but like,
it was just, they're.
like certain groups, wasn't it? Like attacking you.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
that
we
when
won't
they
go
were?
into that.
Okay.
That's a waste of breath. But,
Is that still happen?
No, it's kind of chilled out.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I
Good.
mean,
You get the occasional.
every now and then I feed the trolls
Yeah.
a little bit. I try not to, but sometimes it's tempting, and you do it.
Sometimes it's fun.
It is, and it's the toxic side of me.
Yes.
It's like, all right, but where I've not been going live in character in a bit, I'm like, no.
Right.
Now, the moment I put that mask on is the moment I'm going to call something,
Right.
something, and then that's when I'm.
Because that's when it's no longer Tyler Payne.
No, I let go. We just let it happen. Usually, I'm also going to be a little intoxicated.
Right. Which helps.
It helps. It makes me meaner, I guess, to some degree.
Yeah.
For fun.
Right.
Fun.
So you get to the point where the idea is brewing, and then
So January rolls around 2021, and all my people in the live and like things start popping off again and start picking up. And I'm like, if I made a movie of this, would y'all support it? Would y'all be about it? And I have followers who have been here since the beginning,
right.
and some of them are now my admin. But
So that's years.
that's years.
I mean, because 2020, 2024 now.
2019 was when it started.
It's
On
2019, and so 5 years now.
Yeah, getting close to it.
No, was this the journey? Did you expect the journey to last?
Nope. Did
Okay.
not. Now I'm burnt out. And,
Right.
like I'm very open about being burnt out. But I'm using that burnout as a writing mechanism because like although there's a bunch of limitations in the movies, like I said, Aaron Beauregard talked me into considering doing novelizations.
Right.
Because there's so much. So the movie's only an hour and 20 minutes long. I want it to be more to like an hour and 45, but ran out of film time.
Right.
Couldn't get all the days. So I did what I could in that 8-day span. Then
Now, was it 8 concurrent days that you filmed
yes.
every day?
And then I had some extra go in by
Okay.
myself and guerrilla shoot.
What
Which
pickup
is-
stuff that you needed?
Yeah,
Okay.
which is go in, don't ask permission, ask for forgiveness, and be quick with the
do it
cameras
as
if you need
quickly
to
as
go.
possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one take and done. But to get back into Silico Solutions, I just called the people up and said, hey, I got to do a pickup shot. Is it cool if I come at this time at this day? And they're like, yeah, no, we'll reactivate your card. Just come on in and swipe in.
So it's very easy peasy.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Now it's not easy peasy. Silico Solutions is under new management, and they are not going to let me back. They did agree to let me go back in to shoot the opening of my second film.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I have to see how the first one does, and it's about to release now.
Right.
So, like, I got the VHS release happening, and, like, I only got, I think, 10 left now.
Okay, so you got 40 out of 50.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, either 10, I have a few people who are still wanting to pay but haven't yet, so I don't put them in the list until.
Right.
Because low amount, want to make sure everybody gets a chance.
Yeah.
So, the VHS is technically a soft release to kind of see how it does, and then I'm going to use the money that's created from that to because it was all done on pre-orders, and that keeps me from having to put too much money down up front.
Right.
So where it's pre-orders, they do half, I do half,
Okay.
and
okay.
then some people have already paid it off in full, which means as soon as I get it, I sign it and I mail it to them.
Now, when is the official release of these 50 VHS?
That I have to figure. Oh, the release of that, I still got to figure it out.
Okay.
Because I'm going to close pre-orders on September 1st.
That's what I meant. So September 1st is the end of the pre-orders.
Yep, and then
So they've got like what, 10, 15 days left, 10 or 12 days left probably.
yeah, and then once I close the pre-orders, if they get pre-ordered out faster, then that's when it goes to. I'll go ahead and get it shipped and printed out and do all the things. But right now, I think I still have about a week and a half.
Okay.
So
I'm excited about this VHS release. When I saw that you were doing that, I was like, this is one of the coolest things. I hope people really do realize how it's very. I don't know. I just hope people realize this is not something that happens with every release.
No.
This is a special thing, and to actually cherish this.
yeah, and as an indie developer,
Yes.
I call the shots. And this did actually end up with me having my own company.
Really?
Yeah. And currently, so it's weird how a TikTok, which this was before a TikTok too. I did it in college a lot and would,
Right.
make the videos but never share them. But then, it went from that, making a movie, to then getting a company established as of last spring or this spring, whichever one, 2024 spring, and then going into building a studio to work on new film projects
Right.
and other things, as well as Psycho Silico. But we're about to take that hiatus, and during the hiatus is when I'm going to write the book.
So it's really, honestly, not a hiatus, only from the film aspect.
Yeah, it's the end of the season.
Right.
End of the season. I mean, I've been nonstop going for 5 years. I need a break.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
So is there a point where you get where you're like, okay, I'm not going to focus or do anything regarding the novelization, the film aspect of it, TikTok? Do you ever just take a break from all of it, or is
No.
something always in the fire?
My brain won't let me just
Same.
let it drop. So I wanted to make a dating simulator game, and there's more moving pieces to that than I thought. I thought
Right.
it was just going to be pretty easy. No, it's not. So instead, I decided to go Metroidvania, because I've been
Okay.
playing through the Metroid series again. I started with Zero Mission we're going to play through. Anyways, that's nerdy stuff. So that inspired me, because in Metroid Zero Mission, at the end of the game, there's a moment where you have no firearm, no armor, nothing, and you can get one-shotted.
Okay.
And I was like, I like that. And I've been playing a lot of Outlast Trials lately.
Okay.
So I'm like, Metroidvania, Outlast Trials, just mix them together, and boom, I'm going to make a game like that.
Very cool.
I'm going to try to.
You're going to attempt to do it.
Making games are hard.
What's the hardest thing? The game, making the games, putting the story, the ideas to story, working on the film. Is there one that's more difficult, or are they all? I know they're all challenging in different ways.
I made the film, didn't I?
Yes.
I didn't make the game, did I?
Okay. So the game, you will though.
I will, but it requires I got a solid teammate too, and have solid people to work with. It's just I don't have the time yet.
Yeah.
And I tried to start on it this summer, and I was just like, no, this is just killing
Too
me.
much. Too much.
So I'm gonna focus on the book as my downtime.
Mm-hmm.
No more film stuff for a bit. And I'll probably do some non-story related stuff. I mean, I did buy a blender from Goodwill,
Right.
and I do plan to use it soon.
How much was it?
$5.
I was going to say, you can find some really good things there. My friend, she always finds little, she went to a wedding a few weeks ago, and then she found multiple things in there. And then when she goes in there, I always kind of look around as well.
Yeah.
And I always like to look to see what cassette tapes they have.
I never think about that.
Because they have cassette, and they have VHS as well, and some have DVDs. So I always like to look and see what people are getting rid of. And you'll find some hidden gems sometimes.
Yeah, no, now you got me looking at that.
Yeah.
I do go look at the old electronics from time to time, because you never know when you're going to find, some Philips CDI game just laying there. Because if I can find a copy of... There's a Zelda game for the Philips CDI. If I can get my hands on that, then that completes the collection.
Right.
It's the only one I don't got.
Right.
But Goodwill is used mainly for costuming.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go there to find costumes to things like, I don't know, Psycho Silico or other side projects.
Now, I found once, and I still have it to this day. I wasn't looking for it. I was just going in, pretty much looking. We were doing a movie at the time called You Can't Take It With You, which I'm going to clean up a little bit. We made it. It's not good, but we made it in 2003.
Oh.
So there's a lot of rough patches, and but I do want to edit it down because I didn't have the final. To be honest with you, at the time I didn't have the program in the laptop that I had to edit at all, nor did I actually know how to do it. But now I do. So I'm going to take the DVD that I have, clean it up, and then re-release it.
Nice.
There are about 20 bootleg copies floating around Wise County.
Well, hey, that's cool. That's a cool rarity to have.
Yeah, and they're all like there wasn't like an official DVD cover.
Yeah.
It just says handwritten. You can't take it with you. So there's
that's cool.
There's like 20 of them. But
is it a horror project?
It was.
Well, that just makes it even cooler.
It was,
because then you just go leave that in random places.
Yeah, and I'll give the quick premise. It's not super original, but it was Evil Dead, and actually it was if Chins Could Kill inspired, the Bruce Campbell book. It's about these two grave robbers. One is just a scumbag of a human. Well, they both are. There are no redeeming qualities. One's doesn't care about anything other than himself. The other is a necrophiliac.
Nice.
And they both rob graves. Well, they unleash some kind of spirit which takes over one of them and unleashes some undead. So that's the basic premise of the. And it was shot around Wise County, Coburn.
I want to check that out. So when it's ready, let me know.
Yeah, I want to try to have it ready. I'd like to have it ready by the end of the year. If I'll be able to, who's to say? But I said that to say I went into Goodwill originally for a jacket, and I did find a members-only jacket that I wear in the film. But I also found a gray suit that Pee Wee Herman wears.
Oh.
And I purchased it.
That's
and
dope.
I still have it to this day. And I can still wear it to this day.
When we go to what, New Jersey is
Yes.
it? When we go to New Jersey, you gotta wear that.
Yes. So when Tyler and I go up to Kevin Smith's Film Fest, you'll be dressed as Carol. I'll be dressed as Pee Wee.
Actually, I think I'll be dressed as myself because of the short film. So
the
short film takes place after the events of Silico Solution, and Carol's not there no more.
So is it within the same universe?
Within the same universe.
Okay.
So I'll just spoon feed it. Pretty much what's happened is the psychology behind it is an event so jarring and triggering kind of puts you in a form of PTSD.
Right.
And then that's kind of pushed out the other side of things, not to mention all the illicit substance uses that's mixed together in that blue syringe.
Now, are you currently working on the short film, or is it completely finished?
I shot it, and now I just got to edit it.
Okay.
So I'm going to start working on that.
How long of a shoot was it?
I did it in like a weekend.
Okay.
I didn't sleep, but I did it in a weekend. And I guess it's got a little bit of a setup beforehand. This one's more focused about sacrifice.
Okay.
You got to try to re-trigger that trauma.
Right.
Like, how else to get this trauma back to hear the voices again? If not, put yourself through another traumatic event. So that's kind of what the idea behind this one is. So I'll be myself, but I'll get to be covered in blood and a lab coat.
Okay, I'm excited. Now, do you have a title for this one?
Not yet.
Okay.
Usually the title don't come to me until I'm almost done with it, and I'm like, all right, it has to have a title. First thing that comes to my mind, this sounds cool, but I want alliteration still.
Okay, that's a cool thing that you said, because whenever I think of a project, I typically have the titles. I have a series of titles first, and as I work on it, it dwindles down usually to the ones that I already have in mind. Sometimes I'll have a surprise one, but it's cool that you're just the opposite, that you'll know the title once you get to the end of it.
Yep.
So you never start off with the title.
Never.
Okay.
It's usually okay, I had this idea for a really violent scene. All right, and how do we make a story that builds up to this really violent moment?
Okay.
So with Silico Solutions, I always wanted to mutilate a doll.
Right.
And even back in college, when I first started carving dolls up, I was like, my college buddies were like, dude, you got to get your hands on a doll.
Right.
And I was like, I want to so bad. I wanted the skeleton that was in it the most.
Right.
So one day I just started reaching out to random places. Like, if I can get this doll, then I'm going to make this movie. There's a place called Silicone Lovers. Not sponsored. I bought it. I paid for it. But they got me one that was damaged in the warehouse, and
that was the first.
That was the girl. That's the one in the movie.
Okay.
And she's a mask now. I can wear her now.
Okay.
But I got that, and I ordered it, and it sat in my production room for like half a year. Even before I got the movie done, like working on it, before I was done writing it. Like I already had the doll. I was like, all right, I got the main piece that this movie requires for me to chop up. Like, let's do it. So that's when I started like, okay, now I want to do this scene. I want to do this scene. And I thought of a bunch of violent moments. And I was like, all right, now how do we reach this moment? How do we reach this moment?
How do we connect them together?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's pretty much what I did for my writing process. And I was like, how can we do it budget friendly, time constraint friendly?
Right. That's kind of, I forget David Lynch's last theatrical film, or his actual last film, but he made it very similar to that. Whereas he was experimenting with digital VD at the time, 2007, and he was shooting little scenes with Laura Dern. And after they got so many scenes, he was like, well, let's string this together and make a cohesive movie. Well, as much of a David Lynch cohesive movie that you can make.
Fair.
I've never seen the film. I can't think of the name of it right off the top of my head, but they did do a screening of it like last June or April through June, somewhere in there, and I wish that I would have went. I would have went had he have been there, definitely, but he wasn't going to be there, so I was like, I don't know.
I get that.
But that's a cool way to, and that's how you ended up stringing this together. What's the runtime? Do you have a runtime in mind?
For the main movie?
For a short.
Oh, for the short. The short, I'm aiming for 10 minutes, but my cameras died like at the last moment.
Like died?
Died. Like, no, I mean the battery died. I mean they still work.
Right. Okay.
But
what I was going to ask you this. What do you shoot on? What do you shoot with?
So my first camera I ever bought, my first real camera, was a Panasonic GH4.
Okay.
And I love that thing. Like micro four thirds. I got so used to that like crop sensor, and I was like, I know how to make that look more cinematic than a full frame. A full frame is a whole new challenge. Like I pick it up and I'm like, I got too much screen.
Right.
So, but the thing with full frame is, that's fine. You can have all that screen. Go get you a mat and put over it and crop it.
Right.
So that way you can punch in, do what you want, and I did a lot of that. And then the final touch that I decided to do to the movie was I did a very thick letterbox, a movie to compare it to, I don't know, like I remember Mad Max, they had a very tight letterbox in a cut of their movie. And I remember my mom and dad was like, why are we looking through a door box?
It used to air on TBS.
Yeah.
I remember those.
Yeah, and had like the really tight.
Yeah, and they also used to air on not just Mad Max, but I've seen obviously many, but one of the first it was like on TMZ, not TMC, not Z.
I gotcha. I was like the tabloid.
Yeah, the 30 Mile Zone. No, this is the random thing and has nothing to do with anything else. But one time I went to see a Charlie Sheen show. Yeah. It was crazy. It was back in like 2010. And outside the show, there was the roast master, Jeffrey Ross. I don't know if you know him. But TMZ was there. And that's one of the only places that I'd ever been where TMZ, because we had opened the door, Jeffrey Ross was there. He does a lot of these roasts of celebrities and such. And he's always dressed up, like a pimp or whatever.
That was the Tiger's Blood one, wasn't it?
Yes.
That's when Charlie Sheen just lost it.
That's when I went, because he did like a live stream that was crazy. He was doing coke all the time and all this stuff. And when he was going on like city tours, it was around my birthday, and I was like, we got to go to this. This is going to be a train wreck, and it was.
That's awesome.
It was. It was like nothing that I've ever seen since. Or before, or since then.
It was real, though.
Yes.
You was watching a real man's mental breakdown.
Yes.
And people loved that.
Yeah, I mean, we went to Dar Constitution Hall, which seats about probably, I don't know, 3,500 to 4,000, so, pretty decent. If you remember, he was dating like those two women. They were two porn stars. I can't remember what he called, maybe the goddesses. They happened to be there. He picked out like 15 people from the audience. It was like he made it up when he got up there. The crowd part was booing. Some people left. People were throwing stuff. It was like a WWE event.
Maybe people didn't love it as much as I was thinking.
It was like half did. We were in the 11th row. We were, pretty close. And I remember vividly standing there just looking around. just watching this madness, and Charlie Sheen is up on this big screen, and then like every once in a while, the word Tiger Blood would flash.
What?
Yes.
What would he be like, getting at it and screaming?
Sometimes when he would talk about like Chuck Lorre that fired him from Two and a Half Men.
Yeah.
He was talking about that, and then he had like 15 people come up and ask him questions, and it was just pandemonium, and it lasted like I remember when it lasted about an hour and 20 minutes, and the curtains closed. People started booing. But he never did come back out again, and then we went out. Some people met him. Like I think there was a line of like 20, but you had to have a VIP pass to meet him.
Yeah.
And that was like so pricey. I was like $300. I'm like, I'm not doing that. You know, I might pay to meet some people. Some people I'd rather just run into them after the show or something. But it was one of the craziest experiences that I'd ever went to, just to see Charlie Sheen, because people were like, what did he do? And I was like, nothing really. He really didn't do anything.
He did a live TikTok live.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Had a meltdown on stage for everybody to see, and everybody throw stuff at him.
And it was like, because he set up those dates really quickly after that meltdown. Like the meltdown was like, you know, I don't remember the date, but let's say like, you know, March. And then like by April, he had like 10 dates lined up. And he didn't even finish all of them because it went so poorly that they canceled the rest of them.
So a fun thing that I do, I haven't done it in a bit. So if I get overly stressed and like I start getting real manic and like I'm like I got to do a bunch of things all at once.
Yeah.
I'll use that energy, throw the character on, and then go live and just actually just vent it out.
Right.
But of course, you know, having a showmanship with it, but I'm legitimately getting a lot of like stress out.
So you're kind of unhinged when you're in that moment doing it.
Yeah.
Through the character.
Yeah. So like it's a real like meltdown, but I'm in character for it and I'm letting people watch it.
Right.
And people get real into it. That's usually some of my best lives, but that's also the lives that get me in trouble because I say too much.
Right. Well, I've had a couple of live meltdowns, and
they're fun.
They are fun, and it provokes conversation.
See, the difference for me is people don't know if it's real or not.
Right.
And I'm in a mask, and they're like, I can't tell if this is a real meltdown or if he's pretending.
Part of the character.
Yeah,
part
because
of the scene.
the character's built based off of that, and that's just some of my best venting moments.
Right. Now, when I've done it live on this show, I have got, is it real or is it fake? Because we do theater of the mind.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I've done lives, you know, in my car, sometimes, in all honesty, I have set it up where it looks like it's a live moment. When in reality, I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit in my car, drink this was back when I was drinking more, and I wouldn't drive. I would sit in my driveway.
Yeah.
In the car, and I would drink, 4 or 5 shots within, 10 minutes, and then just see where that would go, which is typically not always productive, but quite a few views.
The people, like...
They love it.
They get into it. And, like, if you just scroll TikTok Live, you'll find crazy stuff. Like, so, you know the thing, wood soup? It's an ASMR. I absolutely don't like it. I hate it.
Is this something I can play on air?
You don't want to.
I don't want to?
You just don't want to. You
Okay.
don't think you want to. So pretty much all it is a puppet, and it's creepy looking, and they do a good job with the puppetry.
Right.
Like the setup's nice. It's a pretty set. Like, don't get me wrong, but all it is these puppets just stirring water with wood in it, and it makes a really cool like ASMR-y sound. Sure.
All right, I'm gonna have to look. I would have to at least to see if puppets stirring water.
That's pretty much all it is. So I'm gonna do my take on it.
Wood soup? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, wood soup on TikTok. But one of the things I want to do is do that, but with all the mutilated doll parts.
Right.
And put it in, like, blood and, like, stir it around with my hand while I'm in character.
Okay.
Just to be, like, it's just my way of kind of, what's the word? What Weird Al Yankovic, what's he do?
Parody?
Parody. It's my
Okay.
way to parody that. And my phone died, so my live is over.
Oh, well, see, they don't know if it went over or if you ended it like that on purpose.
They don't know. They might tune into this show.
Okay,
Hopefully. I'd like to bring
see.
you some traffic.
Yeah, please do. Now,
If I can even get myself traffic anymore.
Right.
I got in trouble one too many times.
or more than too many times.
I mean, you're doing violent stuff on TikTok. It's a platform not for that, but that's what makes it appealing. It's the
Now, do they
forbidden
realize
fruit.
though that the violence that's seen on your TikTok is not violence toward not a person?
Yeah,
They,
but that doesn't matter. It's the visuals of it, and people will like tag people in it to shock factor 'em.
Right.
But that's the part of the fun.
yes.
Like I got shocked all the time. Me and my buddies used to send each other crazy stuff regularly.
Well, there used to be a thing when I was younger called like it was a VHS I remember seeing when I was pretty young called Faces of Death or something like
I
that.
know of it, never watched it.
I've never watched it, but it was always something like taboo to watch, but yet they had it sometimes at the video store.
Yeah.
But I would never see it like prominently like displayed. It would always be like kind of in the side or back where the horror movies were in the bottom.
My era wasn't sadly able to do that. It was instead the around 2002, 2004. So it was all stuff uploaded online.
Yep.
Good old rotten.com.
Oh yeah, I'd forgotten about that site
There's
until you.
Rotten and Banged Up, and in about 2009, in like high school, 2008, that's when Live Leaks, I think, came out.
Okay.
That's when I discovered Live
Right.
Leaks, anyway. And that became my main one. Then there's my favorite one. It's the E one. Now, I can't say it, we're on air.
Right.
But that one's my favorite one.
Is it
'cause
still up, like
that
going
one's still
strong?
up.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like, that one's just hilarious. There's a lot more comedy on it than, like, oh, I shouldn't see that.
Right. There was something that I was gonna ask you. So when you're going into the writing phase here, do you make time? Devote time. Okay. Monday through Friday, I'm gonna write between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. Do you sit down and devote a time to write?
I try to, but that don't work. It's all emotional based. Like if I'm not in the right headspace, I can't do it.
So you've got it makes you write. It's not like you make yourself write. It just comes to you when it comes to you.
Yes and no. I still have to make myself do it.
What's the hardest part? Is it actually
Sitting down and focusing.
making yourself do it?
Yep.
Same.
Because like I can sit there and like I can tell a story all day. But when it comes to like writing it out, I'm like, oh no, the pacing's off. I like
Yeah.
fast pace. I like to just da 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 da
Yeah.
da. But when you're writing, you have to like really think about it and visualize it. So I have to slow myself down a little bit. So what usually happens is when I feel the inspiration flow, and there's tricks I could do that would make me have more inspiration, like, go exercise, go play a video game all day, then later that evening go exercise, then come back, like take a long shower, have a shower beer, and then you're in the right headspace.
Right.
I do all the things that make me happy, get the dopamine or the serotonin, then, all right, we rewarded ourselves, now let's go get into it.
Right.
And then I'd spend the next 8 hours just writing straight. I wrote one film, it was a zombie film, I still want to make it. It's a homage to Shaun of the Dead.
Okay.
And one of the things I wanted to do with it, though, it was supposed to be real simple, 3-person cast. I like to keep my cast members low because it's so difficult working with too many people.
Yes, so much easier with a small cast.
Yeah.
Many people ask me, why do you have such and a lot of the same cast that I use because I'm like, I know how they work.
Yeah.
I know that I can write for them, and I know what they can and possibly can't do.
Yep. And
So-
you learn someone's range, and it's like, why get rid of them? Do
Yep.
the American Horror Story trick. Keep using them.
Yep.
Recast them, make them look a little different, put them in new clothes.
Yep.
Give them an entirely different new character to play.
Tweak the story a little bit.
Right?
Or a lot.
So one of the things, I don't know, the biggest thing I want to do that requires a large cast and crew, but it's what I want to start working on when I get my studio built, and that is a sitcom.
I saw your post about that a little while back.
Yeah, that was just a idea in high school that I thought would be fun and funny. Never took it seriously.
Right.
And then my sense of humor mixed with a sitcom, I think will make for a very interesting show.
I think so too.
I don't think many places will let me show it.
No, probably not.
I don't know, like, I got to figure out where I draw the line, because if I'm going to do a sitcom, like, there has to be, I don't know, some kind of income that comes out of it. Now, the movie was a passion project.
Right.
If I get something out of it, that's great, but I mainly used it as a way to fund my studio, as a way to fund my company.
Well,
Like,
plus
it
you
was-
had that story inside that you felt that you had to get out there.
Yeah, like I already had the dedicated following. I had everything going for me. Everything was just like
You had
it
all the
fell into
pieces that
place.
knew that you can actually make this happen.
Actually, I didn't. They just fell into my lap, and I was like, no way, it's meant to be.
Yeah.
So I did. And then something in my head always kept telling me, make the movie, then you get the house. But you got to make the movie first. 'Cause if
Right.
you get the house first, you'll never get to make the movie.
Right.
So I was like, okay. So I just listened to that little voice and did it that way. So that way I have a really awesome piece for my portfolio, or I have something really cool to shock people with. Just, I don't know. It's just something really neat that I wanted to do.
Right.
But I started viewing it more so as an investment into myself and my own company.
Now, do you see yourself do like when you take the like for example when you're taking the so-called hiatus, which really isn't a hiatus at all because you're
It's
still
just-
working. When do you have a date where you're going to? Yes, I'm going to jump back into film by February.
Oh, I'm
Or-
still planning to film stuff.
Okay.
But, like, I'm just not going to be focused on Psycho Silico.
Okay.
I got to let that charge.
Right.
Like, remember, am I allowed to say the name of my first short film project on air? It's an illicit substance.
Yeah.
Okay. So, cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was doing cocaine.
Was it Amos a body in that? Is he a body?
He is in a piece that I never got to do.
Okay.
Cause, like, around...
Where did I see it at?
He might have... I think I might have gave him some
Okay.
links.
Because I was
of
like,
it.
somewhere
I used him in another project,
Okay.
too, that was supposed to be about a viral outbreak and, like, the aftermath of that.
Was he in like military fatigues and something?
That was for the viral outbreak
Okay,
thing.
that I've seen that. Then that's the
Yeah.
one I've seen.
That one was just a quick little short. I did it in, like, 20 minutes. I was like, all right, we're losing light. I got a new lens. I want to play with
Wasn't there
it.
a cool car in there too?
That was cocaine.
Oh, I've seen them both.
So,
I've seen them both.
The thing, I thought about going back and revisiting it and then putting it in portrait format and then making a TikTok account just to put it up there.
Right.
But I think I have to rename it something because, like,
It'll get flagged.
right out the gate, it's
Yeah.
going to get flagged.
I hate when they flag stuff. Like I can't remember what I posted about a month ago, and I don't get anywhere near the traffic that you get. But I was
I don't
just
get
like,
any anymore.
I was just like, why is that flagged? I was like, I see like 30 other things very similar to whatever it was, and flagged. I'm like, okay,
Well, the algorithm's kind of like a dice roll, too.
yeah,
So not only are you trying to curate to... I don't curate to it. I don't care about the views. Not anymore. I did for a minute, and I think that's what killed the joy in it for me. I started
Right.
caring too much, and I started, like, curating my work for the algorithm. I said, whoa. You're subconsciously brainwashed into curate to this stupid algorithm. Stop it.
and instead of just following your
Yeah. And, like, that, I think, overall just killed the fun out of it for me. And then I'm just like, you know what? We use it now to promote the movie and, like, put the festival demo up. So I'm drip feeding a very censored version
right,
up on TikTok. However, I am putting it in I do have a shock content warning disclaimer at the beginning of it because I'm like, no, for real. Like, I don't care if it don't get traction. I just want it on my account.
right.
So I put that up there, and it can't get the shocking content flag because I do have the, like, hey, here's a 3-second warning or a
Right.
5-second warning. You know better. So if you don't want to see it, go on.
So the warning actually helps.
No,
It doesn't.
it flags you instantly.
Really?
Yeah, but it doesn't get you a strike.
Okay.
So I mean, like I said, I don't care anymore. I'm ready for it to
Right.
kind of fizzle out, for me to just kind of step to the side and just kind of disappear for a minute.
Now, what's one of the things that one of the besides like playing, maybe playing a game or something, something else that you like to do that kind of relaxes you, that takes you out of this like the headspace of all the creative endeavors? Is there anything that Tyler Payne just likes to get away and do? Any
It
hobby?
has to be a video game.
Really?
It has to. That's my only form of escapism that allows me to escape.
Okay.
So, like, right now, I mentioned going through the Metroid series. There's a fan remake of it, and it is so good.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I only played through it once, so I started playing through it again. I'm like, this is really good. I wished Nintendo wouldn't have tried to
Right.
kill that. It's so fun. But, like, the dedication behind that is impressive. And like that was another thing that inspired me to go Metroidvania game, because I'm like, like there's one main mechanic,
Right.
and like if you get that one main mechanic working, other than that, it's just level design. So you get the movement down, you get the attacks down. After that, it's just all art.
Okay.
So the programming shouldn't, in my head, the programming shouldn't be that bad.
That difficult, right?
But I'm not a programmer.
Right.
So that's like someone saying like, oh, building a car shouldn't be that hard.
Right.
And they don't know the first thing.
Yeah.
They're like,
You're like, okay, what is this here?
how many people got like some kind of 1950s hobby car that's still just rotting away in their garage?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
So I don't know if we were talking about we were talking about. I know last time you were on, we played some. What was it, like SMR frequencies? Do you remember some kind of frequencies?
Yeah. We had a few Solfeggio frequencies. I think I pronounced that right.
No, was there any kind of tips? Like, do you sleep pretty well? Like, do you fall asleep pretty well, or is it?
I use it to work too.
Okay.
And like different frequencies will do different things to your brain and stimulate different parts of it. So like you get you some over the ear headphones, and like I think 3 and like lower ones are good for like the more sleepy time stuff, and the higher ones are more for like a mood elevator or focus. I usually stay between like 3, 7.25 I think it is, and then there's a few others, but like I was going to put, there's a ghost frequency. I was going to put that in, and it can cause hallucinations in dark rooms.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was going to put that in my movie. I did not. I did not put any subliminal frequencies in my movie. I promise I didn't. I'm not the CIA. But I thought about it.
And that's not to say that you're not going to next time.
I still might do it in a later update. It's not going to be anything bad.
Right.
One of the things I wanted to do was put like a really like positive one in, like the 7.23 or 7.25 one. I think 396 is also like a really positive, like uplifting one. I was going to put that in it. So you're getting all these positive vibes, like this positive subliminal going through your head while you're watching some of this wild stuff take place. And then I started thinking about that, and I'm like, I don't want to reinforce this kind of behavior as a positive thing.
Right.
So then I started looking into the ghost frequency, and I don't remember what that one is off the top of my head. I think it's either like 8 something or 6 something. But that one will cause hallucinations. And like, it's a binaural frequency that'll trigger both sides of the brain to communicate in the middle.
Right.
And it'll like link different pathways. So what that one does in particular is, I think it hits parts of your frontal lobe, and like if you're in a dark room, which you would be for a horror movie,
right,
in the corner of your eye, you start seeing things kind of like peeking in over at you and looking at you.
So you get this paranoid sensation that someone's always watching you.
And I wanted to put that in my movie.
That would have been a nice touch.
However, I almost did that for September 29th, but my sound guy said, don't. What you're going to do is I play with a range and variety of frequencies with this music and your score. He said, so you put that in. Your score is most likely going to get, well, it might have like a little bit of like broken feedback that it's not supposed to have.
Right.
And, Punt Toast Productions, I don't want to step on his toes because he worked very hard on my score.
Right.
And he made out of his wheelhouse, he made something amazing. Now, that last scene, I let him just have at it.
Like, go full force.
Yeah, so he made it the waltz, kind of like orchestrated music. That's what he's best at. And he was like, I felt like your operation was a dance.
So he scored the entire thing? He did a good job.
Right? I gave him like an amazing job. Because I gave him the final cut of the movie and said, dude, it was designed to not have a score. It was designed to have ambient sounds and like really weird like sound stuff for the ASMR aspect. Like to really feel that you're in this situation.
Right.
However, it fell flat when I had to be. You have to be honest with yourself. I'm editing this. I have the entire cut done, and I'm like, it just falls flat.
You need something that kind of pushes it over a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And the music was that.
Yeah, that's what we talk about often on Real Talk, is that the score can put that in bed and put you into this mood that maybe just the picture might not be able to do
Right.
at a very subtle level. Because, for example, I don't know if the audience has been listening, but it wouldn't be as effective if I'm coming in full blast, but if you're doing it, very subtle, bring it in. And I don't think a lot of people think about that, but as filmmakers, obviously we're going to. And the score on your film was amazing. A really good job.
Dude, he did an amazing job on it. But Destiny Stansberry,
Okay.
that's who done it. So he's great to work with. You pretty much just turn him loose and just say, all right, have fun with it. I trust you.
Right.
And then I come up and I come watch, and I'm like, let's tweak this part just a little bit. Other than that, it's great. So we just kind of ran with that mindset.
And that's good to have that kind of collaborative trust.
Yeah, I mean, it was designed to not have a score at all. And when I noticed that just wasn't work, because that was a challenge I wanted to overcome. I want to prove you don't need a soundtrack, you don't need a score to make a good film. Well, I'm not good enough to do that.
I've thought in the past. I never did finish the screenplay, but I'd written something, maybe 20 pages of it, and in my mind I was like, this will have no score. And I've tried. I know there's films out there like that. I can't think of one right off the top of my head, but it's very difficult to get away without any score at all.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen, like, this is the score to It Follows.
Actually, I was just watching a Meat Canyon episode, and they were talking about It Follows.
And have you watched It Follows?
I have not.
I think the It Follows is one of. I think it's a really good film, but I like the cinematography. I like the retro look to it, and I like the music choices, and I think it was a pretty original story.
I'm gonna have to give it a watch.
And I've watched it since I've discovered it. I mean, it came out several years ago. I just never really watched it, probably 4 times in the past year. So it's the same with Long Legs. I don't know if you've heard of Long Legs.
I have. I watched it.
What did you think of Long Legs?
I liked it. I didn't know Nicolas Cage was in it.
Really?
No
so
idea.
So did you go in blind?
Totally blind.
Really?
I didn't know what this movie was about at all. I just knew horror movie. You need to go watch it.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't watch a lot of movies, but it's in the cinema still. Let's go. We'll make a night out of it. So I did, and because like I don't know if it's like on DVD or if it's like on TV. Definitely if it's on TV and has commercials, I won't watch it.
Yeah.
But like it's hard for me to sit down and watch a movie because usually I feel real weird after watching a movie.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, we're gonna go take a second. We gotta decompress and think about it. Maxine kind of gave me that feel too.
Yeah.
I loved Maxine.
I did too.
I liked it better than Long Legs.
I like them both, and I saw them not back to back, but one week, one the other. I think Maxine is my. I don't know if it's my favorite of the trilogy of Maxine, Pearl, X.
Yeah.
I like them all. The Long Legs, though, I don't know. I liked it a lot.
It's good, but my issue with it, and it's not an issue with the film itself. It's just
It's slow.
Slow.
It is slow.
And like you're talking to someone who likes. My ADD brain's like fast paced the whole time. It's got to be in your face. And I'm like,
that's really one of my only criticisms. I would have changed a few things if I had directed it, but it is slow.
But that's the type of movie it is.
Yeah,
like it was more of a relaxing suspense, if that even makes sense.
They had marketed this as like the scariest movie of all time, which it isn't at all. But it is odd and creepy, and in my opinion, it lingered and it kept with me a few days later, and it made me think about it. Maybe I looked up Long Legs on TikTok and saw a couple scenes. I went to look on the score, so it made me revel in it after the fact, which I thought, okay, it stirred up something inside of me.
Yeah, it did make me sit and think about it longer than Maxine did. For me, Maxine was like those visuals, awesome, loved
amazing.
Like I don't know, I just loved the '80s. I loved the soundtrack. The score to that one was amazing. It gave me Grand Theft Auto Vice City vibes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So good. So like, definitely that's why it wins for me aesthetically.
Right.
But Long Legs is just overall a good film.
Yeah. Maxine, I knew going in what it was exactly what I thought it would be. and it appealed on it hit the mark on every level, and I loved it.
And the gore.
And
I like the gore a lot in it.
Yeah, and there was a couple scenes. This one particular scene with a high heel. A lot of people in the theater were like, "Ooh!"
Yeah, that was a good scene.
Yeah, and then spoiler alert: Kevin Bacon's face gets a few punches in there. I would have sat there and taken that if I were him. I would have like moved, or he was in the car when it happened, correct?
Just sitting there,
taking it
with the keys.
Yes.
I
And,
liked I liked how, again, spoiler, I liked how he goes out.
Yeah.
Like all the blood that pours out of that car.
Well,
It's
Kevin
just so
Bacon,
cool.
it was the summer of the Kevin Bacon villain, because he was also the villain, spoiler alert, in the latest Beverly Hills Cop movie.
I didn't watch it, but okay.
He's the bad guy. But
Now I need to watch it.
in that movie, honestly, you know he's the bad guy as soon as he's on screen.
Man, he plays a good bad
Yeah,
guy. He's
like-
got the facial features
Yeah.
for it. Now, okay, so speaking of the bad guy in movies and stuff, so the guy who does Highlands Horror Fest in Johnson City, Jake Van Huss, he did a short film I recently acted in.
Okay.
I was the good guy, or a good guy.
How did that feel?
How much profanity am I allowed to say? Can I?
So it felt that good?
No. I'd rather be the bad guy because, like, I don't know, you just feel this guy I'm playing, he's weak.
See, the good guys have boundaries.
Right.
And villains and a good, effective bad guy don't.
Yeah.
They can do anything. There's nothing off limits within context of the story.
I like to play morally flexible characters, if not all out, just cartoonishly evil.
And I gotta be honest, I like movies or in films and things where it's more of an anti-hero, that there's not a clear-cut hero.
Yeah.
I like when there's no likable characters.
That's more realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a Sean Penn movie called U-Turn, and it takes place in Superior, Arizona, which is it's the most surreal desert town that I've ever been in.
Yeah.
And I went there specifically after seeing this movie. But in the movie, Sean Penn he's a scumbag guy. He's lost a lot of gambling debt. He owes a lot of gambling debts, and he's supposed to pay these bookies. Well, he gets stuck in this town, and all this bad stuff that happens that keeps him from leaving the town.
Yeah.
But no one in the movie is a redeemable character. They have no redeemable qualities. No one. And it's
like
one of
that.
my favorite movies due to that character's reasons. And a lot of people want the hero.
Yeah.
I don't have to have the hero. I don't
Yeah.
want the happy ending.
No, I don't either.
I hope that there's not, like when I watch a movie sometimes I'm like, and I see it could go two ways. Happy ending or more realistic or non-happy. I want that one.
I will say that, like, I do like the way Van Huss's film plays out.
Uh-huh.
I just wish I got to be the evil doctor.
Is it out now?
No, it's going to be at Highlands
okay,
Horror Fest this
okay.
year. But, like...
I'm going to definitely try to come to it this year.
Cool deal. I'm going to... like, don't get me wrong. I was worried about my performance in it because I'm used to playing an evil character.
Right.
And then I was like, did I do it good enough? Did everything... He told me everything came out great. And I was like, okay, good. But, like, I think, based off what I'd seen, there's a gory, like, surgery moment.
Right.
And I got to watch, like, being on the outside looking in, and I will say that looked beautiful on
Really?
camera. I was super, like, I loved what I saw. So I think it's going to be great. I just wish I got to be the evil doctor.
Right. Well, I was in, you were speaking about your acting. I was concerned, with good reason. I was in a film that I had nothing to do with other than I was hired as the director's assistant, really. And I had like a small 2 or 3, words of dialogue. But when I get down there to Florida, it's not too long after the COVID stuff. One of the actors is stuck in Canada. He has COVID. He can't get across. Well, the production days, there's only 15 days. This is day 3. and they asked me if I would fill in and do this character. I honestly hadn't read the script up to that point, only the part that I had to memorize.
Yeah.
So I hadn't read the rest of the script. And I was like, well, sure, I can do it. So I looked and I thought, okay, there's only like 6-8 lines of dialogue in this scene. But I didn't realize that there were like 80 to 90 more lines of dialogue in the rest of the movie that I was going to be in. So as I was doing things on set, I was also trying to learn dialogue, and in the context of a movie that I hadn't read all the way through. So I really had no idea of this character's arc or anything, because I was only learning the lines of the day, which weren't filmed in sequence. My performance suffered.
Well,
and I didn't do... I did... It was hard for me to watch. You know, probably not watch myself again in that movie.
I get that. But like
But I was glad I did it, though.
You did it, though.
Yeah.
And you worked with what you had. A lot of people wouldn't even do that under that condition.
That was probably one of the most... like, I loved being on set. I loved being a part of the production, so that was all great. But as far as, like, being on camera in an unfamiliar... Because it wasn't... It was more of a... Not a bad guy. It was more of a... It was a jerk, but it wasn't the jerk in the way that I've played a jerk.
Yeah.
It was a different kind of way, and which made it... But I didn't realize what kind of way it was until I saw the movie, and I was like, why did I make these awful choices? I should have just read the script.
Right, we are our worst critics as well.
True.
And
Very
also, it's the director's job to be like, I didn't like that one, do it again.
True.
So,
but it was a learning experience, and we shot in the summer heat in Florida, and it was beautiful, but it was, 6 a.m. until 10, 11, 12 at night for 15 days in the southern Florida heat.
Fun.
Yeah.
I
lost about 8
every
pounds.
night.
I lost 8 pounds, I think, during that, because I was sweating so much.
I believe it. I actually lost a lot of weight when I was shooting Silico Solutions, because I would microdose, and that'll suppress your appetite.
And also probably be wrapped up in all the things that are going on and just don't even think about eating.
Was never hungry. Like, I'm already someone who has to force myself and remind myself, hey, eat today.
Same.
Yeah.
I've been doing this. I've been like fasting. Sometimes 2 days at a time, and maybe I'll eat a couple days, and then I usually fast at least every other day.
I'm doing like...
I've lost about 11 pounds since probably June.
I'm not trying to lose weight.
I wasn't really trying to.
This just, for me, it's just my natural eating habit is, I guess, intermittent fasting, where I just eat one big meal a day, and like that one big meal isn't really that big.
And sometimes, I don't know if you ever come across this, sometimes I'm just tired of of food that's offered.
I'd go out and I make something new.
I have to.
Yeah, like, I'll find something I like and a dish I like to cook, and then I'm like, we're just going to cook this. Another thing that helps me get an appetite is to just go, like, run.
Right.
Any form of exercise, ride bike for a bit. I don't know.
Now, I'm making myself do a 5K next month.
Oh, wow.
I've not done... I did the Marine Corps Marathon one time.
No.
That was 26.2. But I had to train for almost a year to do that.
I don't like running.
And I did a 5K a couple years back, but right before I did the 5K, like minutes before, I did a couple shots.
What?
I don't know why.
Don't do that.
I don't know why. And then, but I finished.
Hey, that's all that
I got a
matters.
medal.
There you go.
But I did finish I finished in the last place.
Well, you put yourself off at like a deterrent from the beginning.
Yes.
Because the last thing I want to do in drinking is go run. The last thing I want to do in general is go run.
Yeah. And see, that falls back to the, like I was talking a little bit before, when, I've not drank like that. Well, it wasn't like a lot then, but it was like 2 shots at 8 o'clock in the morning. That, not a good idea.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes it's these impulse things where it's like, let me just see if I can do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's kind of what the movie was. Or like a short film. It's
Yeah.
like, I got this idea. I see it like this in my head. Let's see if I can do it.
Yeah.
And I go for it.
Yeah, and that's how we are. Well, Tyler, you wanna promote anything before we wrap up the show tonight?
Absolutely. So, Psycho Silico Solutions. I'm gonna have it out sometime this fall, hopefully before Halloween, sometime in October. I'm wanting to do a release party. Don't know where yet. Got to figure that out. I haven't been thinking about it too much. I have, but not enough.
Right.
But yeah, so that's gonna release soon. VHS pre-order if you're interested in that.
You've got 10 left,
I
right?
got 10 left, and I don't see them lasting. So get on my TikTok.
Yeah, they won't last through the week.
No, well, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Hopefully they won't.
Paydays hit, and that's when people get it. So
Right.
most people are on like a bi-weekly schedule. So the second week, that was when a lot of them went.
Right.
But I'm also doing a drawing. I was going to do it on this show, but I didn't put all the new names in the list yet, so I'm going to save it for Sunday.
Okay.
But there is a drawing. I have 2 more copies that I'm going to give away. So all you got to do is repost my pinned video talking about the pre-order.
Okay.
That's it.
Very cool. You want to give out your TikTok once more?
Yeah, TikTok is at Psychosilico. That's SYCOPSILICO.
That's my most difficult part, is spelling it.
Just think about...
I always go back to your post to look at how to spell it. I swear I do.
Think about the magic mushroom.
Okay.
For that last part.
Yep.
Just psychos and trippy.
Yes. So, Tyler, thank you for coming on to the show tonight. It's been a lot of fun. I know the listeners, you're one of the highest rated episodes on Spotify.
I didn't know that. Well,
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on,
Yeah,
man. I
yeah.
appreciate being here.
Yeah, I would like to have Tyler on every week, so we could the ratings would be up every week.
No, they get tired of me real fast. See, it stay as a treat.
Yes.
See,
yes.
I overplayed Carol, and now she ain't a treat no more, so I took her away from
Right.
everybody.
So the anticipation.
She'll come back, maybe.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, we need to see Carol again.
Maybe nothing story related, because all the story related stuff is tied up in what I want to do with the book. So
Right.
now I'm like, TikTok's too limiting. I
Yeah.
gotta have unlimited. So novels it is.
I'm looking forward to it.
I
Tyler,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
You all have a good night, and make sure if you want to go to our social media pages on the Other People Show, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, and Instagram, the Other People Show. You all have a good night.